Facebook Live.
Hi everyone, Graham Couch here from the Lansing State Journal, along my Detroit Free Press colleagues Chris Solari and Jeff Seidel, after Michigan State's 38-0 bloodbath here at
Still rocking at Camp Randall Stadium.
Camp Randall Stadium.
See the cameras bouncing a little bit from jump around, and what the job that Wisconsin did to Michigan State.
This was different than Ohio State. This was a real beatdown. This was thorough. This was methodical. Michigan State was just outclassed, overmatched. Couldn't get off the field. Couldn't create anything offensively. It was in all phases. This was different. You left the Ohio State game thinking they blew some chances. You left this game thinking just no chance.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what happened. I mean, from the start, I think 7 drives of 3 and out for the offense. That's not sustainable whatsoever. I think they only had 1 drive of over 5 plays in the first 3 quarters, which was a 12-play drive that they needed a fake punt to get the first down, to move it. I think they finished with 7 first downs, and then the defense just getting gnawed up over and over again. Long stretches in that first half, Jeff. I mean, they weren't able to get off the field at all.
And more than anything, it shows you how far they are from being elite. Like you said, the Ohio State game, they gave up a bunch of big plays. This game, it was play after play, and Coach was talking about how they didn't have emotion. Well, it's hard to have emotion when they're shoving it down your throat on these long drives that cover the entire field. It just sucked the life out of them. But it shows you how far they are from being elite, how far from they are from being really good.
They're actually closer to mediocrity now.
Way closer.
I mean, and the performance. I mean, this is 3 straight games. Even with the Indiana game, that Michigan State's defense, which had been its calling card, gave up 30-plus points.
Yeah, and Raekwon, well, go ahead. Sorry.
And in this game, they shut down the star running back for the most part. They held him under, but they held him under 100 yards for the first time. He had run for 10 straight games, and I believe it was 28 of the last 32 games he went over 100.
But the threat of Jonathan Taylor was so huge that they
created
sent,
all kinds
on
of
a 4th
problems.
and 2, they sent 4 guys, abandoned their responsibilities, and went and covered him.
And the tight end flies down the
tight
middle.
end goes down deep. I mean, it's missed assignments like that don't show up in the box score that are problematic. That, I mean, you saw it in the Arizona State game, you saw it in the Indiana game, and you've seen it cost them now the last 2 weeks as well.
And Jack Cohen goes 18 of 20, and that's an incredible
limited
number.
Pressure.
Limited
pressure.
That's an incredible number. The question now is where Michigan State goes from here. I think everybody saw this game and saw just how one-sided it was. And you see the difference in the line of scrimmage, especially the offensive line for Michigan State, just not at this level. And that's that's nothing you can do during the season. I didn't think the game plan was all that inventive. I think, when Wisconsin runs a jet sweep, it's a 67-yard touchdown or whatever. When Michigan State runs a jet sweep, it's 0. And it's always 0, so stop running it.
It wasn't that long ago that Wisconsin's defense wasn't at that level
But
either.
This is a great defense. They led the nation in scoring defense and yard defense before the game, and they weren't really getting the love for it, but again,
we're still talking about an offense now that's shut out for the first time since the college football playoffs, but they didn't score a touchdown in this game. They've got 3 other games on their 7-game resume where they scored 1 touchdown. So it's not exactly Michigan State's offense was that great to stop in the first place, and it looked even worse today if that was imaginable.
Yeah, they don't have playmakers at a great level. When you can't run the ball, that's really magnified. Wisconsin has, I think, a little bit better playmakers actually at the receiver position, but when you can run the ball and that threat, it makes everything look good. And Raekwon Williams did something kind of comparing Indiana at a different style, but in terms of the approach, they knew what was coming, and they really had a great game plan to attack Michigan State. Let's turn to the.
So this is not a great team, obviously. So what's left in this season? I mean, you're talking it's Penn State and Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan is not a good team. We're not sure yet about Penn State. We'll know more as we tape this. They're about to play.
Yeah.
We don't know what Penn State is yet. So, I mean, all you're talking about is
bad
teams playing bad.
But
Michigan
they have an
versus
offense and they have a defense that's capable, competent to put up points and shut teams down.
So all that's left is the Michigan game.
Well, it's a weird season, right? Because you've got 3 games that even as this team struggles, as long as they don't completely lose confidence, they probably should win those 3 other games, right? Illinois, they ought to beat. They're going to beat Rutgers. They ought to beat Maryland. And so then it comes down to if you win the other 2 and you go 9-3 and you finish with 5 straight wins, there's some salvaging, and maybe these were just 2 top 10 teams in the middle of the year that were just at another level than you are right now. However, what was interesting about the post game, and Jeff, you were bringing, I mean, Mark D'Antonio looks a little defeated, and his admission that they just don't have the pieces right now that a Wisconsin does, people aren't going to want to hear that. This is year 13. This was supposed to be the season, and it looks like a lot of other seasons and eras before D'Antonio.
No, I thought after the game, he had the look in his eye, as I wrote in a quick column, they looked in the mirror and they saw what they are. And I think he looked out there today and really, really realized what they are. And it's not pretty.
Yeah.
Chris, your takeaway from this?
I mean, the reality was that you come into this game with one chance and one opportunity to revitalize your season.
Yeah.
And it went the absolute opposite direction of what you needed. You mentioned about confidence. I mean, you think back to the 2016 season, that game against Wisconsin was where it started to slip.
Yeah.
And then you started to see it gradually erode. I mean, the players talked about this being an important week for a bye week. In some ways, it is to stop the bleeding from those two games. I mean, they really need to recenter, refocus, whether it means jobs are up for grabs, whatever changes they need to make. I mean, at this point, it's going to be the players and the coaches that are here. There's no changing at this point, I would imagine. D'Antonio's not the kind of guy
who
will go and make his staff changes in the middle of a season. And if he does, now we're talking about something completely different.
No, it'll be interesting to see where this goes. You're right, because confidence is a big deal, and if you come out and it's ugly against Penn State, it really turns ugly. I agree, the bye week's at the absolute right time for these guys. We'll see what they can get. We'll have complete coverage at freep.com, lsj.com, greenandwhite.com. Thanks for watching.